Welcome everyone to the third annual CIJE Tank competition. We're excited to be here tonight to hear from our finalists, to hear them present their amazing ideas in front of our panelists of judges. One lucky group will be leaving here tonight with a provisional patent for their idea, hopefully to move on to something bigger and greater. We're very excited. We have representation here from the Frisch School, the Clean Machine, Yeshiva Darchei Torah, the LibreScan. From RKYHS, the Ray Kushner Yeshiva High School, we have Biowrap, and from Berea High School, we have the Retail Rack. Very excited to see the presentations, the products that these students have put together, to hear comments from our judges, and see what these students could sell. Let's get started. It's my pleasure to introduce our panelists of Sharks here. We have a nice range of experiences of entrepreneurship that I think will really give our students a really nice exposure to what it's like to bring your product into the real world. We have Yvette Edidin, is a member of the CIJE Board of Directors. In addition to a multi-decade career investing in small businesses at well-known private equity funds and sitting on boards of directors for for-profits and not-for-profit companies, Yvette was the two-term elect former mayor of the village of Roslyn Harbor, New York. She has worked for or advised brand name firms such as Milken Institute, Solera Capital, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and Honda Motors Research and Development. Yvette is committed to Jewish education and continuity, and she herself is a graduate of North Shore Hebrew Academy and the Hebrew Academy of Nassau County. Yvette has a master's degree in social entrepreneurship from the Marshall School of Business at the University of Southern California, USC, and undergraduate degrees in finance and engineering from the Wharton School and University of Pennsylvania, respectively. Welcome, Yvette. Thank you for joining us this evening. Our next shark, Dov Friedman, is a managing partner at Imminent Capital, a VC fund whose mission is to fund the world's most innovative products and connect them to the world's most important retailers. Over the last decade, Dov has taken dozens of startups from ideation to the shelves of the biggest retailers in the world, selling tens of millions of dollars of products to Apple, Best Buy, Target, Walmart, and QVC. Dov, thanks for joining us again this evening. Great to see you here. Our last and final shark, Zoli Honig. Zoli Honig's technological aptitude began when he was a teenager in high school. He turned his skills into a successful business idea while in college. Zoli noticed that the educational platform used by most colleges and universities was inefficient and difficult to use. He decided to build a better application that could be used by primary schools as well as post-secondary institutions. Taking what he learned, he went on to create WaveCar, a free car sharing program to consumers through advertising subsidies. I don't want to give away too much of his story, but I am proud that we have a real connection to the TV show Shark Tank, since Zoli actually made a deal on the show as part of his process. So welcome to all our sharks. Thank you for joining us here this evening. I hope you like what our students put together. I'm sure you'll have some great feedback for them, and hopefully you'll be impressed what they have to show you. All right, let's get started. I'd like to welcome the Clean Machine from the Frisch School. We have Eitan Abramowitz, Gabe Greenfield, and Bela Nugrashel. Welcome, guys. Really impressed that you made it this far. Congratulations. Competed with over 400 projects and down to our final 4 competitors. The winner from this evening will walk away with a provisional patent for your product, and hopefully you'll use that to move on to bigger and greater things. So Gabe, Bela, and Eitan, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Hi, I'm Eitan Abramowitz.
I'm Gabe Greenfield.
And I'm Bela Nugushel, and we are the Clean Machine team.
How well do you wash your hands? Does it matter? Well, the first question only you can answer, but we can answer the second one for you. It does matter, and here's why.
Before COVID-19 shut down our school last year, we were already inspired to understand the impact washing your hands had on keeping yourself and others safe. After doing some research, we realized how much it matters. The lotion used in these screenshots from a video made by Vox mimics the coronavirus and other everyday contact germs and can be seen under a UV light. If you only wash your hands for 20 seconds with soap, the lotion is removed. But if you wash your hands for under 20 seconds, the germs are simply still there.
A survey done by the Royal Society of Public Health found that 80% of parents are concerned about their children's hygiene as they return to school. On top of that, 40% of parents felt it was a battle to get their kids to wash their hands after using the restroom at home. These concerns are justified by a survey we conducted among our peers with almost 50 participants. Of those that responded, 50% they said they weren't washing their hands properly, even though we're almost a year into a pandemic. We found that the most common reason for improper hand washing was forgetfulness.
We saw the importance of washing hands for the full 20 seconds, that parents are concerned about their kids' hygiene, and that these concerns are valid as many kids forget to use the 20-second rule. We sought to create an interactive experience that reminds the user of this rule in an engaging way, comforting parents and ultimately ensuring an effective hand washing experience. That is why we created the Clean Machine, an innovative automatic soap dispenser.
Our mission is to decrease the spread of contact germs among children by creating an easy and effective hand washing experience that engages the user for the necessary 20 seconds, fostering healthy habits beyond the home.
On the bottom left, you can see our first prototype. It is made of a tissue box, a few pieces of cardboard, and a plastic container. Our second, more refined prototype, you can see on the bottom right and in my hands here. It looks better, is smaller, and is sturdier. On the top, you can see our CAD model. This model incorporates features we hope to include in the future, including an audio component to add on to the child mode, and a removable tray that doubles as a funnel for refilling the soap. This is how the Clean Machine works. When you place your hand below the top of the C, the IR sensor will see the motion. Then, the pump will dispense soap from the container in the bottom into your hand. The default mode for the soap dispenser is child mode, since the product is meant to help kids develop healthier habits. But if you want to switch to adult mode, you can simply extend your hand slightly further and press the button. In the future, this will be replaced by a capacitive sensor, so you don't even need to touch it. While you're washing your hands, the colorful lights will play, or if you press the button, the simple green to red lights will play.
Theoretically, we could sell the Clean Machine for bathrooms everywhere. In the United States, we can estimate there are over 317 million bathrooms. However, within that, our product is meant for children, so it is better suited for the approximate 130 million school and household bathrooms in the United States. Within that group, our product will mainly be marketed towards the about 76 million households with children in the United States. As we said before, there's an overwhelming concern among parents for their children's hygiene, inclining them to buy the Clean Machine, which is why they are our initial market.
The global market for the electronic soap dispensers was estimated to be $668.3 million in 2018. This was expected to increase at a compound annual growth rate of 6%. But now, after COVID struck, the prediction has raised to a growth rate of 13%, which would bring the market to $1.5 billion by 2025. This growth expected to occur in the electronic soap dispenser market makes the Clean Machine more than just a good concept, it becomes one poised to succeed. These competing products can all complete the simple task of dispensing soap, but are all lacking. By looking at the graph, you can see that Umbra's soap dispenser is lacking a timer, is more expensive, and lacks in capacity. The Lumo soap dispenser, while it has the LED effect, there is only one boring mode and it isn't touchless. Amura's product has a timer, but it isn't engaging and plays an annoying sound similar to an alarm clock when the timer is over. Additionally, it doesn't hold a lot of soap and their design is unappealing. The Clean Machine stands out from all of these products as it provides a sleek outer appearance, a touchless experience, and an automatic timer with 2 engaging modes, addressing kids, which is not usually done with health products, all while still at an affordable price. Because of this, the Clean Machine washes away the competition.
Building each prototype costs around $16 to $17 to make. However, with optimization and buying in bulk, the price can be brought down to around $10. Things like the Arduino and LED lights can be replaced with cheaper alternatives like a PCB with integrated lights. Then we can sell the product for $25, which is cheaper than our competitors and still have a 60% profit margin.
Especially as Corona continues to spread, hand washing is extremely important. This serious issue requires the necessary precautions, which are often neglected by many children. Parents are rightly concerned for their children's health and hygiene, causing the market to grow at a rapid pace. Yet in the automatic soap dispenser market, there isn't a product that addresses all the issues of hand washing for children. The Clean Machine effectively checks all of the boxes and creates healthy habits. Ultimately, the Clean Machine is necessary now more than ever. That is why we hope you choose to keep clean correctly.
Okay, guys, it was fantastic. We're going to move on now to 3 minutes of questions from our sharks.
Okay, I'll start first. Guys, my name is Doe Friedman. I've been doing this actually the 3rd year that I've been a judge at the CIJE Shark Tank contest. And I would say this is by far, as far as presentation goes, the best presentation that I've seen. Your graphics were really great. Your like that PowerPoint was amazing. It was very
Thank you.
professional.
Thank you.
I'll get into the product itself right now. The one issue that I have with it is it's a soap dispenser that is essentially just has a countdown timer attached to it where you're washing your hands and like after you dispense a soap and then it's telling you when to stop. Is that what the product is?
It's supposed to engage the children. So, I mean, when we were presenting the initial presentation to one of our engineering teachers, they said, this is such a great problem. Like when my kids go to wash their hands, they just like rinse their hand under the water and then run out of the bathroom. But he said if they had like this creative product that had a visual display and hopefully in the future an auditory display, they'll be more engaged in the experience. They'll look forward to it. They'll say, oh, let's go do the light show. Let's go watch.
Where's that in the presentation?
It was on one of the slides. It had the here. Gabe.
I wanted to see what, like, how are you engaging the kids? Not just we're going to engage the kids. Show me how you're going to engage the kids. But
we had the child mode with the initial mode when you first scan your hand under it.
oh, I understand. But what I'm saying is, now what are you engaging the kids with? I know there's a child mode, but what is the engagement? Are you?
I think we had a video, like a
that
GIF playing of it.
What's that?
We had a GIF playing of the lights being shown through the soap dispenser.
Okay, so it's just lights. It's lights that are flashing, and you know, as far as
that's what
I
it
know,
is.
when you're washing your hands, it's supposed to be "Happy Birthday to you." Happy
Right,
birthday
so
to
with
you, right?
we were limited by the Arduino Uno's capabilities within this, so we couldn't include the speakers as well. We wanted to, but on a future development, that would be there.
Okay, so there's lights that are flashing to get the kids to let them know when to start and stop washing their hands.
Yeah, I mean, our initial inspiration was, you know, that toothbrush that kind of plays that song in your ear for the 20 seconds. Or like, that solves the issue. Let's apply that to other fields. So we had the idea of doing something like a soap dispenser. And we're like, let them get engaged in the experience, let them look forward to it, and let them have a good time while they're solving a problem.
And then my last comment will be, you mentioned your retail price of $25. While this might be, you know, you're thinking $10 to $15 to manufacture, you're selling for $25. You guys are missing the big picture over here. You don't want to sell the dispenser. You want to sell the soap.
Yeah, well, we actually.
So that was the second thing we were actually talking about right before
That's
this.
where the money is, because you're going to sell the dispenser once, but if you sell the component that's holding the soap and it can only be used in yours, then the reorders come in. And that's where the big money is, because every month now you have a school that has to sign up, or a theme park that has to sign up and buy the soap from you.
Yeah, we were thinking like the Poland Spring delivery system, how like you have a Poland Spring delivered, they pick up the empty things and they deliver the new ones. So Ethan had the idea that we did apply.
But again, guys, great job. I think you guys did a really, really great job. Again, in the 3 years that I'm doing this, that was by far the best presentation that I've seen. But I'll leave it over to the other sharks to make some comments.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I guess I'll jump in. It's only my second year doing this, so Dove has 1 year on top of me. But yeah, comments are basically in line with what Dove said. Presentation was excellent. My first thought when seeing this was actually, like you mentioned, the toothbrush. My friend invented a similar product. It's a toothbrush and it has a light show in it, and the lights stop after 2 minutes. So it's exactly along that line. So in the future, I would actually lead with that and say, look at this product. This is successful. It sold X number of units a year. We're doing the same thing for, you know, hand washing. The other thing I would suggest to you guys is making it engaging for the kids and the parents as well. So a light show is cool, but if there was some sort of surprise afterwards, whether that's a power-up song, you know, fireworks that are projected out of it, I don't know, something like that's crazy and delights the child. That's what would really engage, you know, my kids, for example. Like, ooh, what's going to be this time? And then maybe it's like a streak. If you wash your hands, you know, consistently for 20 seconds every time, at the end of the week, the parent gets a notification and they get a prize. So number one, talk to other successes that are, similar. So I would lead with that next time to say, hey, this worked for toothbrushes. This works for oral care. Let's do it for hygiene. That would be a much stronger pitch for you guys. But other than that, great job. And think about how you really can engage, the kids and the parents. And like Dove said, embrace that Gillette model. Make the cartridges. Give it away for free.
Revenue. That's what you want.
That's it, baby.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I guess it's my turn. I echo the other two judges in that your presentation is super impressive for kids your age. I wasn't doing this until I was much older. So good for you guys. I think the product obviously is very timely. It's research-based. There's a lot of research on that 20-second plus amount of time that's needed. So that's terrific. And I think it's a particularly interesting time in that the government in general, based agencies and health insurance and other insurers would be interested in offering incentives to clients to switch over to something like this because it would lessen their claims. So I think that would be an interesting distribution path or strategy for you guys. I would be concerned or have questions around the patent, what sort of research you might have done or protection you could have on this type of a product. And then just a rule of thumb in private equity in general, if you came to me with this product, I would be looking to see if this were to be a company or just a product. I'm less inclined to invest in a product and more inclined to invest in a company. So I would be interested to see, what's your vision? Where could you take the core product and the core brand sort of on product extensions here?
Good job, guys.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.
Welcome to our next group of contestants from Yeshiva Darchei Torah in Far Rockaway, New York. We have Yoshua Jassy, Shaya Trank, and Shmuel Eliyahu Edelman with the Libra Scan.
So this product is for the book lovers and for the public that wants to find their information or find their entertainment through books without having it to be going misplaced or not finding it. And Shaya will do a demonstration.
So basically, me personally, I run a library in Darkey for the middle school, so I know personally how hard it is to try to find books that are out of order. I deal with this every day when people come, take out books, and then they don't put that back in the right places. So I know just how helpful this will be, and me and my brother thought up of this idea together, and it took us a lot of time to this, but Baruch Hashem, we got to this point. And yeah, Baruch Hashem, so we have this scan over here. And the way it works is it takes scans about 3 books at a time. And let's say and it's meant to alphabetically order the books using RFID tags. And we'll put numbers instead of letters over here. So you have, let's say 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you have it out of order, you put 1, 2, 4, 3, then it will detect 4 as being misplaced.
After it detects 3, since 3 is less than 4.
And 1 is less than 4 also.
Or if you want, it detects this book is misplaced by saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 4, and then 3. Then 3 is misplaced. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 22, and then 22, and then a less number. So now you know the previous one is misplaced.
Yeah, and the output of the scanner is that we have 3 LED bulbs over here and the beeper, and
it tells you which is misplaced
and when a book is misplaced.
So the problem will be for the first book. So there will be an RFID scan on the side in order to make sure that the first book is also in place. So now the demonstration.
Yeah. So when when a misplaced book is detected, there's a beeper that beeps, and then two light bulbs light up. One light bulb will light up if the book currently being scanned is misplaced, and another one will light up if the previous book that was scanned is misplaced. So I'll demonstrate. Second.
So did you create a software that is reading numbers or whatever it is, and you're creating the order, and then it's recognizing that things are out of order, and then it's telling you the correct order? Is that what this product is?
Yeah, it's meant to recognize each of the RFID tags has either the title of the book or the author's name, depending on which system the library is using to order the books.
Sure, but you can put any sort of information attached to that RFID code, right?
Yeah, you can put on the author's name, you can put on the book's name, you can put on
where it's placed. So like row A, we even have here row A on the LED screen as an extra feature. So if you find the book out on the side, you could just scan it, and you could tell you whatever information you'd like.
Okay. Did you mention that you guys have a video presentation?
Yeah.
Okay, let's watch a video presentation, and then let's get into the rest of it, and then we'll ask you some questions.
Our product is LibraScan, stands for Library Scanner. We are working on a device to solve the problem of misplaced books in the library. We have 6.28 approximately million books get misplaced every year. That was a study done by the American Library Association for the United States. So we've created a device in order to solve this issue that, when turned on, automatically starts scanning the shelves for misplaced books, then prints the misplaced book's title, and maybe in the future the author to the LCD screens. The system is pretty easy to implement because most libraries already have some sort of RFID system in place.
So, and there's more to it. You could use it. Let's say there are some books might be stolen, so you could have a count. You could have a count to go through and find the count to make sure all the books are there. You can use it for many other things. Maybe you could even use it in a supermarket to make sure it's all right. How is it going to work? There's also, you could also use it for a private library. People have like a lot of thousands of books and they want it to be in order. So how is it going to work that they're going to get all the tags with the right information on it? So there are different ways you could do it. You could either you send them the tags, they write it themselves, they write all the information on it themselves, or they could type in all the books, and maybe a conveyor belt will type in their books on the computer, type in what information they want to pop up on the LCD, the OLED screen, and a conveyor belt will like write all the tags on it and we'll send it to them. Or they can even do it really simple and have it as a simple, and nobody has to do any work, where we send them, where the tags will read A, B, B, B. If you want their tags to read 1, 2, 3, 4, and if the numbers are out of place, you could do that.
The data that's coming out can be customized to whatever inputs you're putting in there.
Works off existing codes that are on the books.
In the library, it would be very good to use it off existing codes that are on the book.
Sure.
And this scanner, there are some scanners that if you would get an upgraded scanner, you could go a lot faster, and you could even have maybe like a rail or something going and doing it itself through the night.
Sure, there's just like a robot that's just passing along.
Yeah, similar to that. And
all right, guys, that's really great presentations.
I would have led with the video and then gone into the demo. That probably would have been a stronger presentation. That was good, right? You say, hey, we're solving the problem of misplaced library books. Hey, we want to make sure that we keep your library in order, and we've developed a device to do so. And then you show the actual device. In the beginning, we were all just kind of like, looks cool, what is it?
Right, so, it's like kind of a cool product, and you guys came in a little disoriented, but yeah.
Well, yeah. I watched the video like a good judge. Maybe I'll be called back next year.
Well, they called me back this year, so I don't know. But yeah, so I think the product's really interesting. The RFID scanning is pretty smart. I think that you're gonna face competition from people who are doing things like machine learning, where you can use a phone to scan titles, ISBN codes, things like that. And the only kind of knock I do have on the product is that you need to manually RFID each book, and that can be a time-consuming process. So if there's like a visual component that could like automatically do it, I think that would be pretty cool. And the other thing is making it easier for the librarian to like bulk, kind of scan. I actually, it's interesting. There's a product out there. I'm sure you've seen it in like Stop and Shop. It's like a robot that literally drives around, and that's the whole purpose, to see if things are misplaced on the shelves, to see if there are spills. So there is a lot of money going into this in supermarkets and retail. So you guys are definitely on the right path with this product, but I would just say presentation needs a little bit of work. Product is great.
I also called my principal. He has like 1,000 Sparm. He said it would be very useful, and I told him it would be like 100, like 20. It would be the machine was like $25. The stickers are like, I found them like eBay, like 1,000 for $100. So I told him like $125. He said he find it very useful. He said that the yeshiva would definitely buy it or use it because they have misplaced books and they would love to keep their books in order.
But okay, so that brings us to one of the biggest. The biggest issue is, how are you going to make money, right? How are you going to make money out of this product? And you're not going to make money selling a $25 machine. Your product is something called a SaaS product, which is software as a service. So even though you're selling hardware, at the end of the day, you're selling software to companies. That is what you've created. And you need to figure out, and this is what we're missing from your presentation, is how are you building out that business model? I see no business model. I don't see like, all right, it's going to cost us this amount of money to make this thing. We're going to need this amount of money in order to create the software. And then we're going to sell that software to, I know right now you guys are thinking about books, but this actually has a lot of practical applications outside of books. You've created something that can be used in grocery stores, in any inventory management system. My parents have a jewelry business, and they have inventory in their warehouse, and they have different boxes of jewelry. And sometimes if something's missing, and because someone took a box out to go place an order, the product that you've created can actually help them scan and say, hey, this is missing right now. And that's what you've created, a software company. Even though you're selling hardware, but the SaaS model, and some of the biggest companies in the world are based off our SaaS model companies. So if you guys do a little more work and a little more research on what it is that you've actually created and presented it in a new way, you guys have something really special on your hands.
And thank you.
I just want to applaud the boys because, you're young and this is your first foray into thinking of businesses and doing the coding and designing a prototype. And that's amazing that at your age, you're getting started. You have a long life, God willing, ahead of you where you can keep getting better, like Dov and Zoe said, and I'm sure you're going to. I love that this came from a problem that you experienced in your own library. You said at the school. Many times an entrepreneur creates a product based on a problem that they understand very well. So you should continue to look within your life experience as you grow older, to see how you can solve problems in your life more efficiently. So that's my first comment. The second comment is that, and this is following on what Dov said, you want to think, who is your buyer? Because sometimes you create something to solve a problem and you're like, the person who would buy this doesn't really have a lot of money. So am I going to be spending so much time and effort to create something for a small market or for a poor market, for a market that doesn't have a lot of money to give you? And it's more exciting when you sit down and say, what else can I do with this concept? And so that takes a little bit of time and effort on your part. But you want to think, what is the largest market size that I can take this product to? Libraries, they're lower budget, everything's becoming digital. Maybe, obviously the Sfarim in a Jewish library, then there's a market, but it's a small market. Take this product, see where else you can deploy it. That's a larger market.
All right, welcome to our next group, Biowrap from the Ray Kushner Yeshiva High School. We have Rebecca Arian, Sophia Eisenberg, and Mariana Kaufman.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Arian.
I'm Sophia Eisenberg.
And I'm Mari Kaufman, and we're Biowrap. Since the 1950s, around 8.3 billion tons of plastic has been produced worldwide, and a shocking 91% of it is unrecyclable due to the difficulty separating the layers of aluminum.
While plastic degrades into smaller pieces over time, the remaining microscopic fragments never completely disappear. In other words, we are still living among all the plastic that has ever been produced.
In STEM class, working to find a solution to the Indian plastic crisis, we were inspired to create Biowrap, a biodegradable, strong, and flexible membrane that addresses this pressing issue. It is an environmentally friendly plastic alternative that functions as an encasement for fluids and other materials. The membrane's manufacture relies on a method of molecular gastronomy known as reverse verification.
Biowrap is made of only 2 ingredients, cross-linked sodium alginate and calcium lactate. Both of these ingredients are used in foods and have been proven to be both non-hazardous and tasteless chemicals.
Biowrap has many uses. Today we'll be discussing 3. The first is that it is an effective replacement for plastic water bottles and condiment packets. Moving on, we plan to corner more niche markets. Specifically, we aim to incorporate Biowrap in both the agricultural and the medical fields.
In terms of agriculture, our membranes can contain fertilizers, minerals, and compost to reinvigorate eroded or unhealthy soil.
And in the medical field, Biowrap can be used as a new material to contain IV fluid. PVC, or polyvinyl chloride, the current material that makes up IV bags, creates dioxin when manufactured or later incinerated. This material stays in the body for decades and can have a harmful effect on the liver, kidneys, lungs, heart, as well as fertility. Clearly, the need for a substitute is urgent.
Because our membrane is conductive, this opens the door to the incorporation of electrical components. An example would be a liquid level sensor in our IV bags that can alert doctors when fluid is low. Additionally, we have already managed to incorporate pH and moisture sensors into our membranes that can detect soil health.
One competitor of ours would be Marina Tex, which manufactures a plastic substitute made from fish scales. However, their market does not overlap with ours because they are a replacement for cutlery as well as shopping bags.
Another potential competitor is Uhu, which manufactures edible water pods from an algae solution. But having reached out to them, we actually know that they use different chemicals than we do, and therefore have a shorter shelf life and range of uses.
There are also classic plastic wraps and containers, yet these have proven to have significant negative effects on the environment. And as the movement against plastic picks up speed, they'll be used less frequently. In fact, in over 10 towns in just New Jersey, many forms of plastic have already been banned.
The durability of Biowrap is one specific feature that also differentiates us from competitors. We're now able to create a membrane that can be easily transported by packing a number of smaller orbs into one larger and thicker skin, much like a pomegranate. Not only is our product sturdy in the moment, but it can also be freeze-dried so that it has a shelf life of months, and as we continue to work with it, years.
Biowrap is inexpensive to produce at scale at less than 1 cent per membrane once minimal volume thresholds are achieved.
The broad global market for plastic products is growing 3% year on year and is projected to grow up to $1.2 trillion by the end of 2020.
After consulting with an attorney, the Biowrap team has decided that rather than manufacture or sell our product, we want to license it. This means that large corporations will absorb the marketing, manufacturing, shipping, distribution, and insurance costs. We plan to set our royalty rate in the 4 to 5% range and anticipate multiple licenses in several discrete markets. Each license agreement will target a penetration rate, which will in turn be tied to the compound annual growth rate of the market in question. In our first year, we hope to obtain 5% penetration of that market while factoring in cannibalization. Failure to meet growth goals will terminate the agreement with our licensee. This creates the incentive to push our product.
Of course, the cost of protecting our patents, negotiation agreements, and product enhancement could consume around 60% of the gross revenue base. This would leave us with a healthy net margin of 40% of gross. Our goal is to obtain a provisional patent over the next few months with the idea of securing a quasi-monopoly, licensing out immediately to certain segments of the market, certain geographical areas, and for certain periods of time.
We are going to contact companies such as ones on this slide, which are producing various plastic products, so we can exploit the value of our intellectual property immediately and take advantage of the value of our invention. Again, our mission is to provide a safe, all-natural, biodegradable plastic alternative in an effort to shift the world away from multi-layer packaging, pollution, and excess garbage in our ecosystem. Thank you for your time. Stop the waste,
save the planet,
and start using Biowrap.
So, did you guys just create the new plastic?
Hopefully. We hope so.
Where do you have a sample of the product?
We do. Yeah, we actually do.
We're getting it right now.
It's at our old table.
While she's getting it, I'll echo that was an insanely good presentation, and you could have fooled me that you guys are in high school. Like, I would like, if that was just a regular pitch from like a business, I think everyone would agree. Like,
yeah, not college, like business level.
That's past business school. That's like experience, like know how to pitch, like a few things here and there, but like excellent job, guys, really.
Thank you. Thank you. We actually have our prototypes right here. This is one of our dehydrated hard plastics, and this is a membrane containing water that we made. So both are just different forms of the same thing.
Got it. And this, your plastic can be manipulated to carry, I mean, you could replace the Poland Spring bottle, and you could replace IV bags, as you've mentioned, and pretty much, what about soft plastics like that carry bread and, you know, that type of material?
It's very flexible, so there's a lot of potential with it. Like, it can bend, but also we have a harder one that's more sturdy and durable.
It really has a broad range of application. I mean, even coming up with the areas we wanted to focus on were hard because, you know, we can put fertilizer in it, we can put IV fluid in it, just water, you know, ketchup.
How did you come up with this idea?
So we actually had a STEM project in class to create a project that might help India as they tried to combat their multi-layer packaging crisis. And it was a mostly theoretical project, and we started doing research. And originally the idea started as it's just this membrane, and it kind of evolved, and we started experimenting in the lab after class, before class.
Can you speak about like how you developed the product a little bit? What was that process like?
Yeah, Mari, do you want to talk about
yes,
that?
I can take that. So we derived the idea from a culinary technique known as reverse spherification or molecular gastronomy. It's used in France, and what we did was we looked at the chemicals that were used to create it and manipulated it to fit what we were trying to do. It involved a lot of experimenting, trial and error, until we came up with a chemical compound that we, you know, decided was good for everything that we were trying to do. But pretty much that's pretty much it, mixing chemicals and just all experimentation.
Yeah, and Mari's really the experimenter of the three of us,
Yes.
and she would take a torch and test how it did with heat, and she'd put it in the freezer and the dehydrator, and we all just spent a lot of time seeing where it would go.
Yeah, we've done various tests of its durability with heat, cold, pressure, everything like that, to see what else we can do and apply our plastic to.
Listen, I know CIJE is a really great organization. Have you thought about Westinghouse?
We haven't. But...
I mean, this is really incredible what you've created. You mentioned one thing about shelf life. What is the shelf life of the product?
So that does depend on the form it takes. It is biodegradable, but depending on how much we dehydrate it and what we're using it for, this can take weeks, it can take years. It also can be freeze dried, as we mentioned. So that creates a longer shelf life. It can be rehydrated so that for shipping, for example, another idea is in the realm of compost and fertilizer. We can dehydrate it, and then put it in the ground, and when it rains, it can be rehydrated and it can disperse these nutrients to the soil. So it really varies, but it can kind of be changed based on what we want it to be.
I was speaking more about product shelf life, meaning that if it was a bottle of water, is it going to disintegrate?
So we had one of these like hard plastics left in our classroom from the start of Corona, and we found it a few days ago, and it was still intact. If that answers your question.
Flexible, yeah, and still kept up to all of our standards.
And the membranes too with water, to answer your question directly, they're not like a one-day type of thing. They can last weeks on a shelf, and they won't disintegrate or break.
Is the product edible?
You have Yvette, Zoli, you have anything to?
Our product is edible.
Sorry, I was just blown away. So I'm just
depending on its form, the membranes itself. One application we wanted to use it for is marathons. Many plastic cups are used during marathons, and
I say no more. I run marathons. I hate the plastic cups. I do the pinch. It's the worst. If I got an orb that I could, and yes,
and run, and that eliminates the plastic cups.
It eliminates all the waste, and they're tasteless.
Give the New York City Marathon like 50,000 of these. You guys are done. Like, that's it. IPO.
Great presentation, ladies. We have one more minute. Yvette, if you want to share any comments.
No, I mean, terrific. Great science, ladies. I was an engineer, and I would say it's lonely being a woman in an engineering program. So you guys should go, 3 of you, apply together somewhere and enjoy each other's company and socialization while you hang out with other people who don't speak English, because that's what my experience was like. But go full blast with the engineering, apply together. I'm curious if you know who Neri Oxman is.
No,
okay.
I don't think any of us.
You have to watch her TED Talk. She's a professor at MIT, and she works in natural derived plastics, and she's creating architectural elements and clothing for life in space. That's all biodegradable. So you have to write this down. Neri Oxman, Nerioxman.
Did you develop the product in your school lab?
Yes, we did. It was started in class, then it moved to out of class, but it was in the lab at our school, and a little bit at home.
Yeah, a little bit at home.
How much time would you say you put into developing this product so far?
It's definitely been a challenge, but we've been working on this project for almost a year. In the beginning, it took around, I guess, a month to figure out the actual chemical composition of it. And from then, we've been applying different methods of how to use it, seeing if it would be substantial. And that's what we continue to do going forward. So we're using our time to see what other applications.
It is really
impressive, ladies. All right.
Presentation, really great product. I think Yvette has one more thing to add.
So ladies, I got word from our producer that CIJE actually has a relationship with Neri Oxman at MIT. So we're going to try to make that introduction for you. Having a female mentor like Neri in your field would be just incredible. So good luck.
Thank you so much.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
So we have the retail rack from the Brewery High School with Shoshi Cantor, Hannah Bialik, and Rebecca Siegel. Welcome, ladies, and congratulations. So without further ado, girls, whenever you're ready.
The retail fashion industry has a market value of $406 billion globally. Here at Productive Retail, our product, the Retail Rack, will revolutionize the market by providing data analytics to keep your rack on track. I'm Shoshi Cantor.
I'm Rebecca Siegel.
Connor Bialik.
And this is Nava Gruner. She worked really hard on this project, but unfortunately couldn't be here today. The current retail fashion industry faces several problems. Brick and mortar stores lack access to diverse data as opposed to e-commerce. By the time the data is received and analyzed, the unwanted merchandise has been on the racks for a really long period of time. The buildup of dead inventory accumulates to a total of $50 billion wasted globally per year and prevents the sale of merchandise that is truly wanted by customers. The lack of insightful and timely data leads to the retail apocalypse.
However, additional data is the solution to all of these problems. By implementing our product, stores will have access to data on customer interest. These predictions will allow them to constantly reassess which items should be displayed, restocked, or sent back to a manufacturer when a buyback clause is in place, thereby reducing the financial impact of dead inventory.
So, how does our product, the Retail Rack, provide information to stores? Well, when an item enters the changing room, the radio frequency identification tag on the item scans automatically, and the data is logged in our company's database. A similar process occurs when an item exits the changing room, logging the data in a different category. We then use this information to form multiple predictive analytics.
Here's a picture of our schematic. Now we're going to show you a video of our working prototype. This video demonstrates how our product receives real-time data and a few ways in which we analyze it.
We plan to sell and install our device in many brick and mortar retailers. Both client and sales data will be sent via Wi-Fi to our company's database. A transcript is then sent to stores where it can be used to improve their efficiency and overall sales, and designers can buy a separate transcript with analytics that are more applicable to them. We have two categories of store analytics. Inventory analytics provide an analysis on certain try-on and sales data, including recommendations on which items a store should keep, remove, and reassess. Personnel evaluations and recommendations provide stores with the insight on their most productive shifts and gives employees incentive to put maximum effort into their work. This transcript is somewhat customizable based on the store's needs.
We would like to advance our product to provide data analytics for fashion designers to help them plan for their next season's collection. This would include try-on data, sales data, interest by style, color, size, and geographic location.
So why interest data? Firstly, more data will allow our system to perform more comparisons. In addition, try-on data will be received and analyzed much faster than sales data would be, starting from the very day an item is in stock. Altogether, these will account for an increase in both productivity and profit. The power of our central database with its custom algorithm is that we will be able to provide recommendations based on try-ons in the surrounding area, as opposed to just in any single store alone. As more companies join our network, we will be able to provide stronger analytics to both stores and designers. Our packages will be somewhat personalized based on the franchise or chain, but the basic price of an RFID scanner is $415 a scanner, and our data package will start at approximately $199.99 per month per location, with bulk pricing available. Our designer data packages will be approximately $300 a transcript and will be offered in both June and December.
Current RFID readers cost over $2,000. We would be able to provide our product for only $415, which is $1,585 cheaper than what's currently on the market.
Fashion-focused retail data IT companies are a relatively new concept. However, many of our competitors, such as Retail Next and Qdini, who we have been in contact with, are already dedicated to working in unison to produce the greatest results. We would be an asset to both stores and our competitors because, unlike any of these existing companies, we are focused on product movement and item interest, as opposed to our competitors who are focused on customer movement in stores.
We are Productive Retail, integrating data analytics into stores in order to create the most optimal business and shopping experience. Thank you for your time.
Nice job, ladies.
Thank you.
Terrific presentation. I watched the video that you submitted to CIJE before this, and I like how this is you've added to it and made it even more interesting, sophisticated, and added some interesting details on the market opportunity. So good job. I think it's terrific that you're focused on data for physical stores. It's a little contrarian, but sometimes contrarian plays make sense. And I especially like the aspect of the product that relates to the employee management, how to make your employees more productive. I think that is something that's even more universal. And if you can even think about how your product can be applied to sort of employee management and efficiency more globally, I think that could be interesting. But good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just jump on and say, excellent presentation, guys. Really thought you did a great job with it. Really, really interesting to bring kind of the analytics we would typically see in an e-commerce store to the physical store. It's definitely something that's lacking. Retail is struggling now, and these sort of analytics will really help them out with that. It's kind of like you guys are almost iterating on the technology that just beeps when you walk out with an item. So if you steal it, but you're actually using that data for good, to help understand what people are trying, what they're putting back, maybe the sizing's off or things like that. And I especially like that you're doing it with RFID and there's no cameras involved, because obviously you wouldn't want any cameras in a changing room. So really great work on that. I also think you guys, just thinking about the business model, you did a good job with that as well. Thinking that it is a SaaS model, not just hardware, but the monthly subscription. Very, very smart. The only thing I would see is kind of like what the practical application might be. Like, what's the best type of store for this? Is it a Zara? Is it an H&M? Or is it more of a high-end retail? Like, who's going to get the most benefit from this? And it might be both, right? But I'd like to see, in the presentation, maybe some sort of pitch to the actual retailer, right? Like, if you implement this, you'll be able to tell, for example, this item is hot, but the sizing is off because people are putting it in the rack and bringing it back. So that sort of stuff I would like to see in the presentation.
Zoe, that was one of the things that I picked up on, that they had mentioned in the presentation, the try-on aspect. And I've actually never heard of that, right? Like, you hear like a buy-in, sell-through, and then, but like, who's actually trying this on? We talk about this sometimes in terms of on any e-commerce website. It's like, what's in your shopping cart, right? And what makes you not purchase the product once it's in the shopping cart.
You're abandoned.
That's really interesting analytics that someone has. I've never heard of that part of the business. I've heard of, it sounds like there's some sort of inventory management system. That part I don't think is, that new. There's a lot of products that are out there like that. I'm sure a lot of these big retailers have systems when they're bringing the product in. That's what I'm trying to understand, what your product is bringing to the table. So you're bringing the product in, then once a product's in the store, aside from like putting it into some Excel spreadsheet, what other analytics are we getting out of your system?
So one of the things we're doing is, since we're going to be a central database and stores will be able to opt in to almost share data collectively, we'll be able to track, since we're getting sales and try-ons, we can see the discrepancies between both of them.
Can you explain how the try-ons work? I know there's RFID, but are there RFID sensors when someone walks into a room to try the clothes on?
Yeah, so that is our prototype. We have a RFID scanner that would be retrofitted either to like an arc if they have when they're entering the dressing room, or possibly if they need on each doors, depending on how their dressing room is formatted. So when an item goes in, it's scanned in a into the dressing room category, and then when it's out, it doesn't exit, and we have a timestamp, so we can also see that restock idea of how long it's taking. So then we also have their sales data, we have their try-on data, we have data of the stores around them who might carry the same product, so we can find discrepancies, we can find patterns within their store of most popular sizes, most popular colors, so then we can go in and try to see, well, why is this discrepancy existing? Maybe you want a similar product to the one that isn't selling because that color is very popular, but maybe the sizing is not fitting exactly correct.
Right. So there are many aspects to your idea that exist. This is the genius part of this is that try-on. I've never seen that, and it could be that the companies like this exist. I haven't heard of it before in the retail space, and that's why I had mentioned to Zolio in the e-commerce world, you're adding something into your shopping cart and everyone wants to know, why hasn't the consumer purchased the product? Now we have to go back to the analytics and understand why that's happening. And if you can create something more of, I really think that that's what your product is. What's being actually brought from the shelf into the dressing room? That's the product.
You could also do some interesting A/B market testing.
Yep.
Right? Like if you're Zara, for instance, like Zoli mentioned, or, whatever you think the rollout would be in terms of, would it be high end or more mass merchants? Those companies can do what's called A/B testing. They could take two different stores and see how a SKU does in different locations in the store and learn a lot about their floor plans.
Sure.
Great job, guys. Really, really great work.
All right, guys, time to come down to the winner.
All right, let's talk about each of them. All right, Clean Machine. What do you think, Dove?
Clean Machine, I thought had a great presentation. Really smooth, but I thought that there was a lot more that they could have come up with the idea. At the end of the day, it's a soap dispenser that has flashing lights for 20 seconds, right? There wasn't more to it. I think that they could have added like a screen to it that would show some video, and they can create their own content too, right? I think that could be something that's kind of cool to that product. Thoughts on that machine?
These kids or these teams and these schools have to get used to for the Shark Tank piece of CIJE is to think bigger, really. They did a terrific job, but we just want them to think even bigger. My comment to them and in our deliberations would just be that Clean Machine is a product, not a company. And I think they could have been even more creative in thinking about the bigger opportunity. What else could they do with that concept?
Yep. One of the cool things about Clean Machine that I would say is 2 years ago on CIJE Tank, there was a company, and I forget the name of the company, a presentation that was made, and they presented a mask that would detect contaminants in the air. There's an LED screen that would read out the contaminants. And at the time, we actually chose them as the winner, and there were other ones that were pretty good. So the companies that have showed up within CIJE Tank, or I mean, the students that have showed up within CIJE Tank have come up with some pretty innovative ideas. And now we see retroactively, I mean, that would be pretty big in today's day and age. But
yeah, I think like you guys said, there was a lot of things that they said, oh yeah, we thought of that. So why wasn't it in the presentation? Like, okay, like show us like future iterations. You don't have to like show us on a thing. I also thought the actual prototype, like don't show the tissue box one, like just skip that one. You could have 3D printed the one you wanted. I think most schools have a 3D printer now, but yes, like you said, think bigger. I think that's
that's like something like we don't care so much about the process of the product. We want to see the product at the end of the day. Like, yes, we understand that you've done the work.
Yes.
But I thought they did. I mean, that was, again, I said in the beginning that was the best presentation that I've seen in the 3 years that I've been a judge.
Yep. All right.
All right, and now LibraScan.
LibraScan.
LibraScan. I thought very impressive that one of them actually runs the school library. that was amazing. I mean, for him to manage, and knowing that, from Yeshiva Darchei Torah, I'm assuming they have a lot of books there.
Didn't you go to Darchei?
I did not go to Darchei. I was a South Shore Yeshiva.
Oh, okay.
I did not go to Darchei, but I knew many kids, and some of my best friends go to Darchei. I thought that the software that they developed was actually pretty impressive.
Right. They had to think through the logic and the engineering aspect, which they did a great job on.
Yeah, that's not a small feat what they put together. I mean, that the optical, analytics of the programming behind that machine is, I don't think it was just RFID that they had in place. It was more than RFID. It was optical learning, and then understanding the order of books that have to be put into place, and it's reading that out to the librarian. I thought it was
right. They didn't do a great job with the presentation.
Right. That was the whole problem. It's probably a lot more impressive than we think.
Right.
And I think we all know marketing is everything. So if you can't explain what your product does, you've failed. It could be the best product in the world. So
and I think that we all said that product has many practical applications, right? Like, you can take that product into many spaces, and putting things in order, it can probably be used even when think of a retailer when they're putting small, medium, and large in place of on a rack. And going back to, I guess, one of our other products, but just being able to scan retail, I think that idea is just evolving what they have. It's not just for Sephrim, even though that was their original intention. But I think many of the great ideas come from, I think, Yvette, as you mentioned them, like, these ideas evolve out of a problem that you have, and then you're going to take that idea and say, like, let's blow it up into something else. But
right. And again, we have to realize these are teenagers, and their whole world is the whole world to them. But I think part of what the CIJE Shark Tank experience can be for these kids in these yeshivas is really, how can you take this idea, this concept that you worked on, and how can you think bigger, push them to think bigger?
Yeah. Then we get to Biowrap.
Biowrap. I mean, I think I don't even have to say anything, but, like, that's the winner in my head.
That's the winner in my head by far. All I know is right now I'm looking, as we're all, we're not together, I'm looking into my kitchen, and I have 12 bottles of Poland Spring.
It's disgusting. All of us are disgusting.
Over the course of the weekend that my fiance and I have drank, and that's going into the garbage. And I know plastic is not good for the environment, and there have been many plastic alternatives that people have tried to come up with. I mean, did we just find the next plastic alternative here on CIJE Tank? I don't know that much. So, it's almost, part of me is saying, like, while we're saying, like, they're the clear winners. First of all, their presentation was amazing. They had data. I don't know if they thought about, like, really what it means to have the new plastic, because that's billions and billions of dollars at this point, maybe trillions of dollars.
Yeah, it's very rare that we see a product on here that we're like, yeah, these guys could actually, like, be a successful company one day. Like, we don't see that often at these companies.
And because of the chemical compound of the company too, you can really patent that idea. But, like, is Biowrap real? I know Zoli is a runner. If you follow Zoe on Instagram, you can see him running every morning.
I don't post it every day, okay? I try to spare my audience, just so you know.
But if Zoe is, you know, if you had like these little water pods in your pocket and you didn't have to carry.
Oh, by the way, they have. I mean, I probably have them in my closet here. We have gels. So when you're on a long run, you have to have gels because your body runs out of basically sugar, and you need to fuel if you're doing like a run longer than an hour or two. And these things are littered throughout any race course. I mean, and it's like some metallic.
You have to get rid of the container.
Yeah, you just throw it on the floor. That's like what everyone does, and they're everywhere. Like if you go in Central Park in the morning on like before a race and when people are training, you're gonna see them everywhere, littered. And then you rip the top off. Yeah. So besides for the water, the gels are a huge thing. Sports nutrition. There's tons and tons and tons of applications for this. I don't think we have to.
I like also that the girls clearly had talent. You know, they were articulate, they were thoughtful. They sort of had silos, right? One was the chemist, one was sort of more of the marketing person. So they show some nice promise as young women.
Oh, that was, I think Zoe had mentioned in that presentation. If we're not talking college, that was a legit business proposition that they made. They came up there with a presentation to a real investor. I would say that Biowrap is the clear winner because plastics is a billion or if not $trillion industry. I think plastic is on the minds of everyone who's involved in the green deals, anyone that's trying to save the environment.
I would also just say that I think single-use plastics are obviously like we were all trying to get rid of them at the end of 2019, and then when coronavirus came around, everyone was like, "Whoa, hey, you know what? Take your bags. Don't touch anything." Like we need single-use packaging. It's a very clear need of society in today's day and age, and reusable bags just is not a good solution because they usually take up more resources to produce, and usually people just throw them out all the same. So this is a really great alternative, and I think it has world-changing applications for it.
Retail rack. What do we think about retail rack, Zoe?
Retail rack, super strong presentation, really great business model. Love the tech. Could have done a little bit of a better job explaining sort of like how a business could benefit from it. But like you said, it's basically shopping cart abandonment rate in the real world. You could have a lot of really interesting things come about from it. So there are many companies that do this sort of thing. I think they are unique in the way they approach it with RFID tags and an RFID scanner. So yeah, really strong work from the team. I don't really have a lot of negative feedback for them. Like really
I think what you said is what's really great is shopping cart abandonment. I think that's what their niche could be. Other than inventory management, everything that they add as far as RFID coming in, I think that companies like that exist. If they would kind of refocus, take it back a little bit to the trying on, that was my only note that I had from them, because that was the one thing that blew out to me. It was like, wait, do retail stores actually know what's being taken off of the racks, being brought in to try on, and then being put onto the racks? That is valuable information, and valuable information that they can give to the designers who are supplying, or even if they're in-house, just for them to know, like red, blue, yellow, green. Obviously black is always going to win, but if someone wants to go outside, like, why did they take this bag into the shopping cart? And into the dressing room at that time? Why did they bring, why did they try on these pair of pants? It's summer, spring, fall, and then they could take those analytics. And I think one of the biggest points that we all had throughout all of this was SaaS. That was a big part, right? Like all of these companies, while they were thinking about the retail, the margins that they would make off of their hardware, and I think we had three out of the four companies that, I keep saying companies that presented, but because that's how well they presented. These are students. We have to understand. These students presented. A lot of it is not so much in the hardware. The software is where the real money is. But
I also really love, thinking about them as students, having watched the video that they produced prior to this, and then looking at the presentation that they presented to us tonight, they have evolved even in the last few weeks, which, is impressive that they should continue to, to think and improve upon their thinking and their idea.
Yeah.
But we have our winner.
We'll take an official vote. My vote's Biowrap. Zoli?
Biowrap.
If you would go on the engineering aspect, then who would your winner be?
You know what? I think engineering alone, I think the first and the third product are the most interesting to me, the clean machine and the retail rack. But again, clean machine was a product, they didn't think big enough, not a company. And I think, to our discussion on the lost or untapped opportunity of within retail store footprints, the knowledge that's not being captured. I think Retail Rack actually hit on something very interesting. And I think it's the type of software that we think it's one thing now, but once it's in place, it becomes a whole other beast. And we discover knowledge and analytics that we never even contemplated. So I think Retail Rack might be the winner without, if Biowrap weren't in the picture.
Yeah, they're definitely the runner-up in my mind.
Yeah, I would put Retail Rack as number 2 as well. And again, that goes back to me not understanding the knowledge of the scope of products that are out there. I don't know if any of you have gone into the Amazon stores and like where you can take a product off the shelf.
Yeah, Amazon Go.
Right, Amazon Go. And that's pretty crazy. And I'm sure they have a lot of analytics. But to Zoli's point is they have cameras sitting all over the place. I mean, you're walking into a store that has 1,000 cameras. But anyways, but I think we have our winner. I hope that we're making the choice, but I know we don't have, I'm not a chemical engineer. I don't know that much about it, but their presentation was succinct and it was clear, and I thought they did an excellent job.
I think the bottom line is CIJE should take as a fee a percentage of all of these.
Right.
At least we get first right on their first round of funding, I would say.
Do we? Is that in the contract?
I hope so, right? We should get
that good is what you're saying. It was that good. We want a piece.
All of that.
All right. Good night.
Wow, what an amazing evening. Again, congratulations to our finalists who made it here from over 400 projects. You were incredible this evening, and you're all going to go on to greater and bigger things. So great job. One last thank you before we sign off, of course, to our teachers out there. Your inspiration and your motivation is awe-inspiring. Without your constant pushing and faith in your students, these projects never would have reached their full potentials. So thank you to all of our teachers out there. You're just inspiring to everyone. Great job, and keep it up. A big thank you to Nathan Reno from Pearl & Cohn for sponsoring our grand prize this evening, a provisional patent to our winners. And lastly, to close it out, one last time, to our 4 finalists, the Clean Machine from the First School, Eitan Abramowitz, Gabe Greenfield, and Bela Nugrishel, LibreScan from Yeshiva Darchei Torah, Yoshua Jashi, CIJE Tank, and Shmuel Eliyahu Edelman. To our runners-up this year, the Retail Rack from the Berea High School, Shoshi Cantor, Chana Bialik, Nava Groner, and Rebecca Siegel. And of course, to our winners this year for the 2020 CIJE Tank competition from the Ray Kushner Yeshiva High School, Biowrap, Rebecca Arian, Sophia Eisenberg, and Mariana Kaufman. Congratulations and a big thank you to everyone. Have a good night.